Yo, what's going on, people? Person? Right now. Go around. I'm going to be turning down the music once we get more people in here. I feel like the music's been pretty loud in this last stream, so if I forget, someone remind me. But yeah, tell me how you guys are doing. It's a lazy Saturday for me, for right now at least. For right now. I do still have homework. I got 2 exams due by 11:59 tonight. And I'm trying to string a pocket for one of my new players' lacrosse sticks, so that's going to take a minute. It's going to be a pretty busy day. Oh, yo, look, WK's here. What's up? Yeah, kind of busy, and I want to get some time in with my mom as well. Thinking maybe I'll take her to a movie today. I don't know. You got to see what's out there. But yeah. What's going on? What's going on? So, I'm fine with 8 people. I don't need any more. Okay, so today I was gonna talk about first, like, the sorcery thing that was brought up in this chapter, and some things concerning dragons and how all of this is still the story we've been getting told. I don't think it's going to be completely new. The power system might be a bit new, but the ideas are going to be pretty much the same. And I just want to get into some of the ideas, and I have a few texts that I already have pulled up for you guys, if you guys are interested in reading some of those. One of them talks about something that I did a video on a while ago, more so talking about Libe and Asta, and it was mostly based around their anti-magic, because at the time that's really all we had to go off of for the 2 of them, and I don't think we may have just got Libe's name. It might have been just revealed, so it was that long ago. So I have the text that I used to refer to that pulled up. I have the book by Thomas Carlson that I've been reading to you guys also pulled up for a specific reason, to talk about one of the deities in there that is considered a dragon. Not that all of them are not considered dragons, but there's one specifically. And then I have one more up here that is specific, that almost exclusively refers to all of the supernal, or not supernal, but the infernal inhabitants as dragons, and less of as demons. So if you guys are at all interested, I mean, I guess let me know, but I figured we would at least get into one of them today. But let's read the chapter, because I haven't actually read the unofficials yet, and I'm kind of curious to see what's going on. Okay, so we have Asta looking, of course, just amazed. He's got his own little kimono looking, his robe thing. Okay. So the Slain of the Sun. So am I tripping, or was this initially introduced like all the way back when Yami was talking about it in the cave? Like, didn't he call it the Land of the Rising Sun, or was it just the Land of Sun? So I feel like that changed. Okay, I'm in a foreign country. How the heck am I supposed to go back? Oh, and there's one more thing we'll talk about too. It's not exactly about dragons or anything, but it kind of leads into exactly where Asta is, and possibly when Asta is. So I guess stick around for that. Relax. It don't look like that Lucius guy's making a move anytime soon. So I really like how relaxed he is about Lucius. He doesn't seem to regard him as of course, an immediate threat, but not really as a threat at all. So it seems as though wherever they are is going to remain somewhat unaffected. No one reminded me. I'm going to turn down the music, guys. Hold on. If I can, where to go? Okay, there we go. Let me turn it down just a tad. There we go. That should be good. So yeah, he doesn't seem super worried about Lucius, even though Lucius is an active part of the planet that he intends to restructure. So that's going to lead into something I'll talk about later. So he says, Ryu, what are you? And what are you? You said you're a shogun, but what even is that? So we went over this the last stream where we looked at the exact definitions of what that hierarchy looks like. And that's when I learned, because at first I remembered shogun is like the third or fourth on the pyramid on that list of the hierarchy. But given the definitions, even though they're third or fourth, they're actually running the entire place. So, he would be equivalent to the Wizard King, which I do think he says there. I did see that. So the Wizard King of your country, you could say it's something like that. So yeah, that makes sense. Didn't he have two swords back here? Oh no, it was directly behind him. So that's a third sword that we're seeing there. It's the same as the Wizard King. Why don't you just call me Ryu? Maybe it's because I can't sense magic power, but you don't seem all that strong to me. That's kind of a weird thing for Asta to be pointing out, I think. Right? Because he can't sense magic power. So what exactly are you trying to sense? And he hasn't sensed anyone's power through ki, I could be mistaken. But that's just a weird thing to say. Can't deny that. I ain't really that strong. And he's like, you actually aren't that strong. And then we got Yami's sister here saying, watch your mouth. Do not dare speak disrespectfully about Ryu again, outsider. So I'm wondering what the actual structure of this country is like. Because in the way she refers to Asta here as an outsider makes me think that they kind of think the same of foreigners, that like the Four Kingdoms do. They just don't really like them overall. Which would be kind of sad, but it's not new to Asta, of course. He apologizes. And he says, it's alright, cool. I could tell from her ki, but she seems really mad at me. Okay, duh. But what is this? She seems familiar, but I feel like I shouldn't go near her. I'm sure you're shocked to wake up in a foreign country. Let's do a bit of sightseeing to rest your mind. So, I really like the village. Tabata did an excellent job giving us this. This is so cool. What you think about this? A town in the land of the sun. I've never seen this kind of stuff in the Clover Kingdom. Yeah. Interesting. Okay, so this is one of the things we're going to talk about. So come one, come all, behold the magnificent dance of the fire and water birds. So they have these birds coming out of the scrolls. That's magic, isn't it? But they aren't using grimoires. Here in the Land of the Sun, everybody uses scrolls to perform sorcery. I felt like a large majority of people, like I was against the scrolls. It seems like everything I'm against Tabata does. So anytime you guys have a differing opinion from what I have, just know that you're 100% right. Seems to be the trend here. But I kind of see where Tabata's going now that he's doing it, and I've actually looked into it. What you folks call magic and magic power, we call sorcery and sorcery power. So we will definitely talk about this part, because here he seems to make them equivalent to each other, and it's just the terms that are different and not so much the application of power. But in fact, it might be the application of power that's a tad bit different as well. And it's pretty well illustrated here, so we'll get back to it. So, no potatoes. What is the specialty of the Haj village doing here? Man, I'm crazy nostalgic. Just holding it makes me feel safe. That's funny that he finds the no potatoes. You've got a good head on your shoulders, mister. Then we see, I believe that's Big Sister. So, Big Sis, let's buy that one. I think we'll stick with no potatoes. And he has the flashback of him and with Sister Lily, which of course has to hurt. Of course. So then Ryu says, "Hey, you two, come here. Let's take a look over that way. Ain't that thing there weird?" And then they have the big splash. So it's looking like Ryu helped them get out of the way, or out of harm's way, with his power of precognition. And then we got the Zero Squad looking guy, and then this guy looks like Stain if things just didn't work out in My Hero Academia for him. Like, literally, that's what he looks like. If you don't want to die, bring us all your valuables and food. It's bandits, run away. There's bad guys in every country. I do like this, that no matter where you go, there's always going to be people that try to disrupt the peace of the land. And there's no such thing as like and maybe it might sound pessimistic in nature, but there's really no such thing as peace. There's always going to be people like this, right? And there's nothing you can do to stop it or prevent it from happening. However, you can go through efforts to make sure that it gets the effects of it get lessened immediately, and the time frame is shorter, so the problem doesn't fester over time. So Ryu says, "Yeesh, that was a surprise." So I'm guessing everyone isn't aware of Ryu's power of foresight at all. And I'm almost wondering, like, well, hold on. Let's see what they say later. Did he save them by accident? No, he moved them to a spot to save them, right? The guy's a little confused. What the you're? And it's that typical anime thing. He, like, knows who he is, but they don't say who he is. There's nothing to be alarmed over, is there? As I'm sure y'all can feel, I've got no sorcery power whatsoever. So this part was the most fire aspect of this chapter, like, by far. Because now we actually have someone else who okay, so I'm just going to say it like this, just to keep it simple, but I do think they're different. So, like, he's now met another person that does not have magic. This makes two of them. Now, I am not completely upset at the fact that people might say that this is Asta's dad, because this is now the only guy that doesn't have magic. And I do say, if Julius is not the actual reincarnation of the demon Astaroth, then he also had no magic. And I kind of went over that in another stream before. But this one is canonically the only other person outside of Asta. So this part is dope, and he's the Wizard King. So like I was saying on Twitter, this is actually who Asta wants to be. Julius was just the closest thing at the moment. But can someone block that, whatever that is? I don't... it's like spam or whatever. So, like, this is what Asta really, truly wants to be. Like, this is who he literally will be. Should everything go according to plan. So I really, really like this. Because he did lose someone that he saw as his goal. And Julius was a great guy, but he, of course, fell into the hands of evil. That apparently he was always, in that grasp. So it's really bittersweet. And I think it'll spark new hope within Asta to do that. Then we got a bunch of people surprised, and then we got, and so I leave this in your hands, Ichika, as you wish. So it looks like he really doesn't have anything to stand on as far as offensive abilities go, which is really unique, right? Because I put out this idea that Asta will come back with not even anti-magic, which I do hope is the case. And it makes it special because they've trusted this man with the well-being of the country, and they he can't really do anything. Well, as far as we know right now, and of course, this could all be just like I can't think of a character right now, but where they hide their powers from people and they end up being actually super OP. It's just that maybe one of those things where he can't actually let loose, or else it could cause some like major damage. Because remember, Julius, when Gildray escaped, he was saying like he can't hold back his power. There's no toning down what he can do. Like he will just obliterate whatever those things touch. So it could be something like that as well. But we'll keep going here. You really giving us the Slender Girl? You're pathetic, man. Well, all right. Why don't you come along and keep us company? And this is so familiar to me. Like I think it's giving me Claymore vibes. If you guys have read that series, like the way it shows the muscles, taking in energy. So hold on, guys. This person I thought was spam. Also gonna learn Dimmok. Oh, dude, my bad. I thought, dude, your name looks like spam. I thought it was spam. I just took a look. They're in here like totally cussing me out. I'll release it so you guys can see it. Oh, damn it. Hold on. I'll read it to you guys. The person I thought was spam said, it's not spam, you just don't know what it is. Thanks for blocking me, dumbass. Clearly you never heard of Dimmok, you prick. My bad. Whoops. I want to screenshot that so I can I want to show you guys on Twitter. My bad. I just took a glance, it's my bad. Alright, lost the follower. That's okay. But yeah, it really reminds me of Claymore, and I think there's even someone in Claymore where they had an emphasis on their eyes too, just like she does. I gotta look back on that. Maybe we'll just look it up because Claymore manga. Yeah, because they use like damn, what's it called? Their energy source comes from like yokai or like demons, and their innards are all made of demons. But oh man, if you guys have not like read this series, you definitely need to. This goes like side by side with like Berserk. Like reading these back to back are super great. I doubt I'll be able to find like that specific image of like them channeling that energy into their muscles. Because I think she has to use it for like a technique called the rippling sword or rippling wave or something like that. And it shows what she has to do and how she has to channel that power to do it. Yeah, I don't think I'll find it. But definitely read the series if you haven't. It's really cool. Okay, I'll get back to the skins. Okay. Yeah, she says, "Don't touch me, you cretins." And she gets into a nice little, what's it called? It's in Naruto. The Hyuga clan. That's exactly what it is. With the air palm and stuff. So she's cloaked herself in, we'll say, dark magic for now. Of course, we're ignorant to the actual power system, but it obviously looks like dark magic, which is so cool because we've been waiting to see what it looks like without the medium of the katana, and she even has one. So the fact that she didn't use it and use this means that she probably just didn't take them seriously. But what exactly she's doing here is left up for interpretation. It looks like it's her moving really, really fast. What I am thinking, and hopefully I can say clear of like the Naruto bandits, but like almost like shadow clones, but not so much clones, but she's using the darkness to create like a almost after image, but it's of course a fore image of what she's doing. I hope that makes sense, but it's the reverse of an after image. So she's imposing her will into the future almost. Like it's weird, but I think it's something like that. So we see these guys all have their own scrolls, right? There's 1, 2, 3, 4. Yeah, yeah. And then one even had a. They all have a katana too, as well. I think, right? This guy has a bat or something. Katana. We don't see this guy with a katana, but this guy does. The stain when everything doesn't go right has that katana. This one. I also want to know what this is. It looks like it's cloth, maybe blood or water, but it was on his sword before, and it looks like it doesn't really move. Yeah, it looks like it kept the same-ish shape. It's got these little globlets, so whatever it is seems like a liquid, but it looks like it's the same-ish shape that it had then. So either that means, oh no, it did change shape. So it is some type of liquid. Maybe it is water. Because right now all we've seen is the water and firebirds. So I think those are at least the basic things people can get from these scrolls. And anything outside of that might be extremely special cases. That maybe like the Ryuzen. Maybe they have scrolls that have different attributes in them that are probably considered arcane as well. But we'll see. So what was that just now? For a moment, it felt through her ki, though her ki swelled up tenfold, and there's that darkness. So seems like that power is definitely ki, and it's probably being used in a more Dragon Ball-like fashion. Like a Kaioken sort of thing. Yeah, she's one of them, the 7 Ryuzen, so they're popular. You're the best, Yami Dono? Right, okay. So, Yami. Asta's like, you can't be. She grabs his face, and this is the Yami look. Right there, the glowing eyes, the shaded face, palming the head. Don't approach me so casually, outsider. I'm sure that'll get changed to foreigner. Just for the sake of irony. Ichika is Yami's younger sister, so the fact that he calls him Yami, like, by his last name, I'm sure he's doing that because that's what's familiar to Asta, but I do think it's also just weird, given that we now know that it's his last name. If you want to get stronger, go get trained by them, the 7 Ryuzen. Ryu might be looking out for you, but I really hate men like you. So she's got some mad Charlotte vibes to me. I would really like an interaction between the two personally. Like, you know, to see Yami get with a woman like Charlotte. Like, in the end, where, like, let's say things are all honky-dory and stuff, right? He would, like, imagine, like, the family dinners or whatever, right? Where it's like, you got Charlotte who's just, like, this hard ass, right? And then, but, like, she loves Yami, but, like, you know, would probably throw down with him if he gets out of line. And then, you know, Yami trying to speak up for himself could get, you know, Charlotte could get defended by Ichika. Like, you know, she's obviously a hard ass too and doesn't mind. Probably wouldn't mind beating the brakes off Yami either. So he's between a rock and a hard place right now. So I do like that she got introduced to the story like that. Really interesting. Very, very interesting. So cool chapter. Not a lot happened. We're still just he's introducing us to what's going on here. What the heck is this, by the way? Like, it's just a mountain of hay is what it looks like, or like a waterfall. Is that coming from the scroll? No, it's behind the building. Yeah, I don't know what that's all about. Hopefully that gets cleared up. Is that a building that maybe we just didn't... I didn't pick up on? Maybe... Is it just clouds? Probably. I don't know. It just looks a little weird. Yeah, I don't know what that building is. They don't show it there, too. Yeah, what is that? So that wasn't in the area. Sorry, I'm just... Yeah. Is that a tree? It's probably a tree. Maybe? No, because it's like inside of a building. Yeah, I don't know what that is. Huh. Okay. But yeah, really cool chapter. Really interested to see where Tabata takes this series with Ichika now. And what she will answer for us. I still think I'm always thinking in terms of like, Tabata clearly said this is the last saga, so there's not going to be a ton of new questions popping up. We're going to be getting answers, and it'll be through Hino Country. So I guess the first, let's go over the comments, because then I'll talk about what I think is going on with Hino Country and the answer about the scrolls and sorcery and whatnot. Okay, let me go past the forbidden spam messages, because that's where I left off. So WK in the chat, super stoked that he's here. Sedarius, what's going on, my guy? Kino too, cool. We got Kino. Outsider is ironic. Who made out Black Clover Legends Arceus? Is that a game? I don't know what that is. Sky, how's it going, bud? Booth, what were the Land of the Sun people doing when the clip out was happening? We'll talk about that. Yeah, does he not look like Stain? He totally looks like Stain to me. Like, I'm gonna pull up a picture of Stain. He looks like Stain if you were like a super bum, because he was already a bum. But like, come on, that's Stain if he like relied on crack instead of like anti-heroism. Yeah, that's Stain. Tabata ain't fooling nobody. That's a shot at Horikishi and all the bullshit he's been writing so far. Okay, that was kind of mean. I shouldn't have said that, but anyway. Asta's gonna learn Dinmac, aka key blocking. That's definitely not spam. Damn. He's gonna throw some hands. Kino. Ooh, Byron talking trash and then retracted it. Oh man. Kino, but yeah, Claymore like Berserk's little sister. Yeah, pretty much. I think Claymore is just such a special series overall, because like an all-female, well, I won't say all-female cast, but like a primarily 98% female cast, all strong-ass women, and super badass. It's there's not another read like it, for sure. WK, you thought it was this dude that's been suing Jack? Yeah, no, that's Apocrypha, dude. Maybe I wouldn't be surprised they have another account, but yeah, we squashed that last night. We kind of had to correct that fool. You serious? The second message. I think it was the same dude. Yeah, but yeah, I wouldn't put it past him to make another account to try and troll me more. But anyway, Byron, Ichika using something similar to the KO can is too much of a coincidence to think that Asta won't gain the same. Yeah, for sure. He can already use Ki, so being able to strengthen Ki obviously is going to help him out. Imagine him getting much stronger than he already physically is, because Asta bodies most of these people at base strength. He bodied almost said Supreme Devil, like non-canonically Supreme Devil. I still think Lee Base is Supreme. With just his muscle and his experience. Like, imagine if he was able to channel Ki like she did just now, and amplify that base strength. He wouldn't even need to really rely on for people and beings in a lesser range of Lucius, of course, because that is the new bar. Andrew, well, goddamn, I have a lot of mangas that are on hold, and some of them I'm planning to read. I got One Piece on hold, Naruto on hold, and I'm starting to read. Do you mean Yu Yu Hakusho? Gas is out that it's kind of like Berserk. Yeah, it's actually much more digestible than the Berserk. It doesn't have like a crazy amount of lore or anything. It's strictly an entertaining read with a really cool story and system behind it. So I definitely do recommend it. I would definitely say I was reading that while I was reading Naruto when it was dropping back in the day, like thousands of years ago, guys. But I did end up liking that series a bit more. Just, I appreciated it more as a story than I did for Naruto. But I did find Naruto vastly more entertaining, if that helps your decision there. Um, see, you guys are agreeing about the Kaioken thing. It looks like poison. Oh, okay, I can see the poison thing. Angie, you gotta read it now. Maybe he's trying to show how fast that attack was. Yeah, it could be, because it does look like speed, like a speed feat here. But the fact that she's, yeah, it's probably just a speed feat, honestly. You're probably right. But she goes back to that, right? She never really moves. But that, then again, okay, so having practiced multiple martial arts, like, when you do, oh my god, they're called katas. It's a specific series of movements. And, like, the farthest one I've done was probably, like, consecutive, like, maybe 21 or 22 movements. Have to be concurrent, precise, and then you end up in the exact same spot when you're done. So it could be that, that she's doing, and honestly, as far as its application goes, it's not the most applicable, but of course when you reach these heights of physicality where speed is like a non-factor, as well as strength, then I guess I can see how it'd be effective. Because in these movements, you are also learning how to attack while covering guards, and countering as well. So, it's very useful just to get your body moving into the right stances in certain situations. So, this could be one of those type of things, and she just ended up back in that spot, and it's all just a speed feat. But let's see. I think they use... So yeah, these guys were getting hit, and see this bamboo right here? It's falling, and it's falling right there, and they just hit the wall. So this was really fast, like literally the drop of a dime. Byron, the fact that people didn't think that Yami is his last name and Sugihiro is the first name is fine. Yeah, I mean that is like I'm not saying like I knew the whole time, because I refer to him as Yami. I still am, honestly. I'm never gonna call him Sugihiro. But you know, it makes sense that Hino is obviously this versus Japan, and they refer to themselves last name first name, and then even introduction. And then if you think about it outside of that, and Yami not really correcting anybody, remember they're in the military, and in the military, at least here in America, you're usually referred to by your last name, and your first name is almost non-existent. So, but yeah, I do agree, Sugihiro sounds like a last name. Mateos, oh my goodness, Mateos Rafael Negas Estefanos. That sounds like a crazy name. Like, you sound like a super spy. Also, haven't seen you here, so welcome. Only Habesha. Oh. I cannot interpret what you said in that comment. Maybe reading is just not my forte. But it makes sense by Japanese standards that his last name is first. Mateos useless. Oh my goodness, you sound negative, man. What's going on today? Byron agreed. Sugihiro does sound like a last name. It'd be even funnier if Yami thought that himself. It would be kind of funny, but I doubt it. He was old enough to know. What land and currency do your FBA offspring have? You begging the better man for reparation 2022? I don't know what this person's trying to say, to be honest with you. I really hope that Ryuzen actually have interesting characters. I wouldn't see why they wouldn't. I think they'd be really cool. I'm very afraid that they're gonna look like Zero Squad, and they're gonna come in with like all sorts of hype. And we've already had too many Zero Squad instances in this series, like the Spear Guardians, biggest Zero Squad moment ever. The crumbling generals, like, again, a big Zero Squad instance with still a bit of potential with the hidden one that was actually the face of the country. So yeah, there's that. I don't know what the fuck man is saying. I don't know either. I feel like I just see the word reparation and begging, and I'm assuming he's trying to get a rise out of people, but the the lack of actual literacy is kind of hurting him. So I don't know really how to feel about it. Stain, if he traded his quirk for dude, facts. That's exactly what it is. If he traded his quirk for a nose. Byron Jack, what's some ideas you have for use power? Okay. So let's talk about the scrolls in sorcery. So we know we've been doing this thing with grimoires the entire series, right? We still don't know a lot about grimoires, but I'll start with the too long didn't read version of this thought here. I think Hino Country is not only a different continent, but I do think Asta has gone backwards in time. So I'm not sure why or exactly how. I know it has something to do with the spatial magic, of course, but things have to go somewhere, and that's something I've been, trying to get through. Is that energy doesn't die; it has to be transferred somehow. So even though they're manipulating space, and through Longreese, he's erasing space. The things that he's erasing have to go somewhere. There has to be a subspace to put those things. And even though it hasn't been divulged into, it doesn't mean that it doesn't exist or there's not a potential for that to exist. So even with things that are teleporting things away, I really do think that that he has been more or less teleported through time. Now, I've still been kind of on board that Beelzebub is behind this. And this is more so to help Asta gain that power to beat Lucius. There's no part of me that thinks that that these devils are complacent being under Lucius's grasp. That just doesn't fit any kind of devil lore at all. Devils will always try to screw over a human that's been bargaining for their power and using their power. That says that directly in the Grand Grimoire. And it teaches the mage to use the devil and not have the devil use you. But even though a contract is in place, the contract is consistently being dishonored by the devil, or attempting to at least, so they can break the contract and gain the soul of that human. That's what they really, really want. So I do think a lot of this will have to do with Beelzebub, and I think this also lends into the ultimate idea that either or, meaning either Asta or Liebe, or both together, are more in line with the thought of them being Lucifer. Okay, so first we have grimoires, and if they're sent back in time, we have scrolls. Now we go up, and I don't know if you guys saw the posts on Twitter, but I just put Choju Giga. Choju Giga, contrary to popular belief, is not just one of the jutsu that Sai uses in Naruto. It's an actual piece of literature, an actual piece of writing and text. Some of the first, I think it's regarded as the first manga even. And what the idea behind this is that if they go back in time, before there were books, there were actually scrolls. And there were things called magical papyri. So as you guys should know, the papyrus was one of the first things, paper-ish based things that were used as such to record documents, history, and things of the like. So this is one thing that signifies that they're back in time. Now, the fact that these birds were conjured through this tells me that sorcery is different than actual magic. So the definition of magic, when you look into almost anything, you can look into Norse lore, esoteric philosophies, and I believe even Judaism paints it in this picture, but it's the imagination coming alive, right? You're exacting your will into reality through your imagination, because imagination is the creative force which draws upon the tree of life primarily. Now, sorcery, though they do seem to be synonymous, they're actually fundamentally different, and it's a slight variation. So sorcery has more roots in things like divinations and conjurations, and mostly associated with black magic. So it, to me, the fact that birds came out of this, I don't think that they are necessarily like molding them, because this would be considered a pretty high level of creation magic if they're even doing this, which would be pretty impressive because these guys seem like, run-of-the-mill merchants trying to impress people. So that is a possibility too. But to me, it seems like those birds were just part of the scroll, and that's what came out. And through their sorcery power, they were able to summon them through the words. And I think it'll even link back to Zagrid in the sense that what they're doing is bringing life to the words written down on the scroll, right? So think of Sai in Naruto. What he does is draw a picture, and he channels his chakra into the scroll, and then his drawing comes alive through that. So it's based on the output of chakra that he uses. This would be the same idea, bringing that story to life. Now, this went into like the idea of this, of there may be like an architect or a prophet of sorts. And I know there's definitely one Supernatural fan in there, being WK, in this, where in Supernatural they have a guy named Chuck who is a prophet, and anything that he writes comes true. And spoiler alert, I mean, it's the series is done. If you haven't watched it, I'm sorry, but it's a good one. You guys gotta watch it. If you like Black Clover, I feel like you definitely love, and like, not only Black Clover, but if you actually like some of the content on this channel and like what it goes into, you would love Supernatural. Trust me. It's definitely almost as true to lore as you can get, with some really good entertainment value, like super cool. Anyway, what was I talking about? I just go on rants all the time, man. So yeah, I think these scrolls are, they're putting their sorcery power into it to conjure these things that were written down already. And I think the difference between the scrolls and the grimoires are also going to be the fact that scrolls are pre-written, whereas grimoires are written along with experience of the mage that is handling that particular grimoire. So there's going to be some fundamental differences here. And then I think we'll even get into, man, these Naruto people are going to be all over this if it happens, but Tabata doesn't seem to care because he knows how to write. So anyway, there might even be forbidden scrolls. And it might have some things that are able to be conjured through sorcery magic. Now, the only thing I'm wondering about is the idea of, if sorcery power is fundamentally different than magic power, could Asta have sorcery power and not magic power? I don't know if that could be a thing. Of course, we need more information on that. But I do think it would be still kind of special if he didn't have sorcery power. Because then he would be a complete anomaly throughout time and space, literally. That doesn't have any of the things that the world seems to run off of. So we do have that. And no one has actually mentioned either, now that I think about it, Asta not having sorcery magic. Like, the guy that initially attacks says, like, he senses that Ryu doesn't have sorcery magic. But no one else has seemed to say that. So that's very curious. I'm also, I gotta say, where are Asta's priorities right now? Because I would be very worried about, like, my dude, my soul brother, and I'd probably go check up on him before I, like, start exploring and stuff. That's my personal thing. And yeah, there's some things that we talked about last stream that are kind of weird about this place. Like, everything seems so, like, almost perfect, right? People aren't really judging Asta. Like, again, I don't know if they're sensing that he maybe has sorcery magic or he doesn't, but no one's judging him off of it at all. He's just gotten straight up in line with the Wizard King of this country, right? Everything is going pretty swimmingly, honestly. The no potatoes being here gave me that little Twilight Zone-ish thing where it's like, you end up in heaven, and heaven is what you've known and loved throughout your life. And I mean, some of Asta's best times without stress, was back at the church with Sister Lily, and all of the other orphans. Having the no potatoes, like, even though they weren't like the best food ever, he grew up with it. He didn't know any better. Like, he didn't have better food to compare it to. That was the food that was perfect for him, and that was heaven. It was paradise. So it just looks different for people, right? And I kind of like the idea. Like, the first person I saw post about this was Chimochi, talking about how, like, the eye of Ryu could be equated to the eye of Odin that he sacrificed himself for, to be able to see things that are happening all over the place. So, with that said, Odin is also the keeper of Valhalla, and essentially meaning that he looks after the dead. And not just any dead, but like the warriors. And he sends them back to fight Ragnarok. So it's interesting that, like, Yami has this core, and he's the only one that has it, not William. So I think it's been pre-existing. So if we take that into account, then imagine that Asta gets thrown back after training and all that stuff, right? He gets thrown back, and he has the core of a devil too. I think would be kind of cool, because if anything, it would just show that he had died and then come back. So the core would have to change. And then maybe even Liebe, but he's started out dead. So I'm wondering what his deal is, to be honest, And it just seems like overall Asta is forgotten. Like, he's lost track of time. He's letting things like when Ryu says, like, "Oh, you don't have to worry about that guy. He's not going to strike anytime soon." And maybe I'm recalling wrong. I probably am. But he says, like, there's going to be 7 days till judgment. Like, I think Asta knows that it's pretty time sensitive. So, and even if he doesn't know that, it would cause a bit more anxiety, right? Because he could strike tomorrow with the power that he has right now. Asta doesn't know that. So I don't know if personally, if I were in the situation, I would feel as comfortable as Asta is. However, there are, writings, both fictional and non-fictional, about heaven being a place where you kind of forget about your worries and the things that caused you strife. You do lose track of time. So, that's something I'm keeping in the back of my head for now, and just looking for more clues to go along with that. I see you guys are writing a lot, so I'll look in the chat for a bit. Better watch out when Asta gets his ninja clone scroll, dude. Facts. And he masters it in one night, right? One night. People call Naruto, like, not a genius, and it's so stupid to me. He learned a forbidden jutsu in one night. Like, and not just one night. We're talking about the span of like an hour, maybe 2, 3. Doesn't matter. The kid learned that and mastered it in this. Oh my god! And they have the nerve to not call him a genius just because he doesn't know a myriad of techniques. It's about finishing the fight, and he does it every single time. Top no jutsu, best jutsu ever. Atos, he can really be broken. It seems like Hockey plus Quincy Blute Vein. Yeah, it's possible to develop from Sensi Ki to see it as a kind of an aura with a color and an ability to manipulate life energy through Ki. Yeah, it'd be interesting to see the ways they can apply it. It would be almost too. I don't know. We have a guy with soul magic who's manipulating souls, so I was gonna say it might be too OP to like manipulate the life force of someone, but if you have people like Lucida who can steal life force from people, maybe it's not too far fetched. Now, scrolls are clearly just single-page grimoires. I mean, yeah. Like super long one-page grimoires. And it's almost like Julius's grimoire in a sense. Like, it's not a scroll per se, but, it has some similarity to it. So that too is interesting. I'm I'm the only one who thinks what Ryu said under under the 7 Ryuzen got Bleach vibes when the Gotai 13 protected Ichigo. Or you're asking if you're the only one. I feel like they're going to go back with Asta to the Clover Kingdom to fight the Paladins. I hope they don't. I want this to be just an Asta thing. Just like how Asta defeated an ancient demon on his own in front of the homeland, just like Lumiere did. I think it would serve him and his character and his story so much better if he comes back alone. And I would prefer that like characters like Yuno and Noel are able to be a part of the opposing 12 to fight the Paladins with Asta, and not so much these other ones. But I don't think that couldn't happen. It would definitely be interesting. But to introduce new characters and bring them back like that against, I don't know. You know, it's. I feel like I don't know. Maybe you just gotta think about it a little bit more. Black Knight, I'm not completely sure what to think of this advanced ki yet, but I believe that ki is a form of life energy manipulation and increase of energy of all kinds of magic, anti-magic, and physical energy, as we saw with Asta's black form and Black Divider and the control of anti-magic, even though anti-magic did not belong to Asta. Asta was still able to manipulate it with his ki. Now, is he manipulating it with ki? Has that been said? Because it's always been my impression that he's been manipulating the anti-magic just because it was drawn to him. So I don't know. Refer me to like a chapter that says that if I am mistaken though. Dean equals American Yami. Yeah. Bandit Sunset. I was thinking that maybe Asta was transferred through space and time too, possibly even a different dimension. Yeah, possibly. It could be all of the above. We just need to look out for those clues. Well, Asta does have ki. Everyone has ki. And even the things that are dead have ki, as we saw in the fight with him and Libe. I don't think he points out the ki of Nama and Lilith or Lucifer. Oh, he does, through Lucius, though. He says the ki that Lucius has is very similar to Lucifero, so even the devils that don't have life force have ki. Sun Jin Woo. Did Lucius use time magic or soul magic to take control of the underworld? Don't know. No idea. Yeah, that's a good question. I would probably say a mixture of both, though, because if Astaroth has time magic, he's still not the most powerful devil. So, in things like just time doesn't override gravity. Gravity more or less dictates what time does. So Lucifer would have the upper hand still. It was probably a good mixture of both. Okay, Bandit Sunset. Ryu also seems to be distracting Asta from his memories of the past. Libe and his grimoire. Right, like him remembering Sister Lily when he saw that kid. Yeah, I think you're right there. Sun Jinwoo, if Lucius used time magic, then why didn't Astaroth? Yeah, okay, so that's what I was just saying. And it could suffice to say, like, you know, if Julius's body was actually the reincarnation of Astaroth, the actual devil, having that devil's... Hopefully this wasn't the case, because if that's the case, Julius was not all that strong. Full power of Astaroth, coupled with just half the heart of Lucifero, could maybe give him an edge for a good portion of Clipbot, but reaching people like Beelzebub, I don't think that even would be enough still. Especially since Beelzebub should have a soul as well, and should be able to grow his power. Black Knight, someone with a lot of spells will take a long time to get to the end of the scrolls. Imagine someone with an 8-meter long scroll trying to hit you with a spell. Yeah. Yeah, that could be something. Black Knight, where's Asta's grimoire with Libe? Don't know, dude. It has no leaves. We got no answers right now. Shelly, I keep saying this. You guys don't have to apologize or tell me you're not going to make it. I'm just doing this, man. I'm glad you want to be here, though, of course. But yeah, very interesting with the scrolls and the differences between the grimoires and that. But overall, I'm thinking that Scrolls, again, are pre-written things, and they channel their sorcery power into it to conjure whatever's been written to bring the words to life. So, do we want to talk about dragons this stream? I'm going to leave it up to you guys. Because if not, it will definitely give me more time to, like, you know, compile some ideas for you guys. But, like I said, I have these sources pulled up for your viewing / hearing pleasure. Should you want to do that. Till then, let's scroll. Let's see what the people are saying. Maybe let's do hashtag BC spoilers. Because we don't want rogue hentai or anything, right? Wow, it's like I almost didn't press the enter button. Okay, what are people talking about? What are the top BC spoiler things? Ooh, Faded's with the first one. Okay. We see you. Even though I'm late, Asta really finna get trained by this country's 7 strongest swordsmen, which is basically their Magic Knight captains, and he already got a katana set for real. This arc is so hard. Yeah, he does. He does have a katana set for him, but we still got to know where those swords... Well, that's my headcanon. I got to stop pushing it on you guys. My headcanon is that those swords are not in the grimoire right now. It's just that we didn't see the Clover on Asta's grimoire. There's no design at all. So it tells me that that those swords just might not even be there. Or they at least washed up separately of him, and they may have collected them for him, and are waiting to, like, train him much better by using them. And I do think that if it gets to that, he's going to meet the soul of all of them. Or they'll take the components of each sword, because, like, say he can't use the grimoire, like, ever again, right? Because I gotta look at it like this too, because, like, Yami came to this country, to the Four Kingdoms, and then he received the grimoire, and I don't know, he just seemed so put off by having a grimoire. Like, really, really put off. It just kind of bugs me, because he was legit depressed that he got his grimoire, and it seemed like he was just finding out, like, what his powers were. So that's really confusing. But anyway, I'm really thinking that, you know, and it was illustrated perfectly. I'm going to use TCB since, like, I don't want to use Viz for this sort of stuff, but I'll show you guys what I'm talking about, because I try to pick up on the very fine nuances of every chapter, because Tabata does a good job, like, relaying messages with very, very little... Oh, no. They only do the current chapter? Oh, no, I can go back. It's just not through here. He does a very, very good job about giving these huge ideas a very tiny foothold in a chapter, but gives you just enough information to kind of do your own research. Whoa, page unresponsive? Bro, what are we talking about? Let's exit the page then. What? Dude, sussed. Here we go. Okay. Did I not just click on that? What's going on? Oh, it keeps moving. Okay, let's go to the previous chapter. Oh my goodness. Putting the juice on me. Can't even press the button. Here we go. Okay, no. It was before that. It was when Asta got yeeted. Or before. He had grabbed Sister Lily hostage. Oh, okay, that's not it either. Apparently, I just don't know my chapters. Okay, here we go. Nope. It was this one. Okay. Ooh, boy. Okay, so he ends up grabbing Lily, right? So, what in the world? His grimoire looks... Dude, what is this? They legit put a... It looks like the clip on his grimoire. That's what it looks like. It's very shitty. Okay. I don't know why the scans are like that, though. That's so crazy. Okay. No. Move. Okay. No. What is going on? Dude, Knight's out here trying to cancel me right now. That's what's going on. Well, while this is loading, I guess. Let's see what you guys are saying. Yes on dragons for sunset. Cool. Sunjimu, I wonder if Asta can combo anti-magic with other devils. What do you mean? Like saying he can make a contract with another devil and then still use anti-magic? I would say he probably couldn't do that. Because anti-magic's pretty absolute, and it wouldn't be anti-magic. Because, like, it flows through his body when he uses it, right? Okay, damn, I'll exit the page. Holy hell. What is happening? Maybe I'll just try another tab. But it wouldn't really make sense to have, like, things that use magic alongside with things, like, alongside anti-magic. Like, you know what I mean? Nate, your theory has already been said by me, bro. I beat you. Alright? I'm Ryu. Gotta respect the foresight here, alright? Alright, I'm gonna view all chapters before this thing crabs out on me. Okay, what chapter was that? 334? Yeah, Fragile Soul. Okay, there we go. Okay, let's scroll fast, scroll fast, scroll fast. No. I don't want to go to the top. Go down. Okay, look. He grabs Sister Do not do this. Okay, here we go. And they have very similar drawbacks, both Lucius and this is it right here. So this is what Asta has to do to get to the sword that he needs. He needs to put one back and then take one out. That takes time. And then there's the moment, specifically, he grabs Sister Lily. And Asta says, if I use Demon Dweller, it'll cut Sister too. Demon Slasher won't reach him in time. He didn't have one of those swords at the moment. I think it was Slasher. So he can't reach back into his grimoire to put one away and then take the other one out. Because that could mean life or death for Lily in that instance, which meant new life for her. But the death of the Sister Lily that we knew. So if they can take like scraps or something, I don't know what they'll do. I did suggest in the last stream that the stone that Yuno has could connect the dimensions, that may be in play here, or at least these physical items, put it into the Demon Slayer to fuse these swords together. How they would do that, I don't know. It kind of goes along with the Dragon talks too, because I believe that we're going to start seeing things like gems and things like magic stones as well on their end here. So if they do that and combine all the swords, he will no longer need to really have a grimoire to store it. He can carry it around like the Shogun does and the Shogunate. And it would do everything that he needs it to do. He won't have to focus on switching out the swords. It's literally everything he needs it to do. It can be acausal, produce anti-magic slashes, absorb magic, and deflect magic, and do what the katana is doing as well with the equinox technique and all that good stuff. And maybe a tad bit more with whatever he's going to learn here. So I think it's very important that we see a shift in Asta's not only character, but the way he fights. Because it isn't efficient. It's not as efficient as it could be. It has been efficient, but remember, like, part of my biggest gripe with Asta is that he doesn't seem to know what sword to use at some given moments. One of my biggest complaints earlier in the Spade arc and towards the end of the Elf arc as well, when he obtained the Demon Destroyer sword, he didn't just go around like, hitting people with it. Like, hey, curse, here, we'll try it out. Could have tried it on Henry. And, never thought to do it. Could have tried it on Charlotte. Never thought to do it, Lola Petra, he knew she was cursed. We saw the curse. Didn't even think about touching her at all. So it's just strange. He doesn't seem to know that that's his best sword by far. And even in the Lucifero battle, I was tweeting it out almost every week, I felt like. He got beat to smithereens and was getting healed by Mimosa. She couldn't heal him because there was so much anti-magic flowing off the kid, right? And he gets up and starts walking away and picks the most massive sword he has in his beaten state. Like, you think it might be... He's, like, dragging it on the floor. Like, you don't... Maybe a lighter sword would help here, Asta. Like, what are we doing? And it's not like Lucifero was throwing things like singularities at him that he'd be able to bat away. He really didn't need that sword for anything. And in fact, I even argued that in his initial attack on Lucifero, where it landed, but he had just dodged it, so it cut off his horns the first time. If that was the Demon Slasher sword, he probably could have decapitated Lucifero, like off rip. But the fact that Asta is this vehemently... I'm not bashing the kid, of course, but he is stupid. That's like how he's written. It just doesn't seem like he knows exactly what he's doing at all times. And he kind of defaults to the sword that he knows. And the sword that is... I think it might have the most bodies, on record for him. So, not to blame him for that, but of course, the heavier sword's going to be slower to swing, no matter how strong you are. So it was something I never got. So if they do combine these swords, he'll have a light one that can do all the things that these swords do already. That's the most efficient way we can put this. Chapter 110, Ki has helped Asta opt... Oh, Chapter 110. Okay. I don't think this goes that far back. But here, let me look at it on my phone here. So Chapter 110... Okay. So this is with Mario Leona. Okay. So this is when he obtains like the level up for his black form. Like he learns how to actually use it. So he doesn't know himself. Maybe I don't really understand the power that I've got yet. Well, what do I have? 1 anti-magic swords I can use because I don't have magic. They can cut any magic, but they can't do a thing about this place. He's talking about the high magic region they were training in with the Crimson Lions. 2, the muscle strength and stamina I built up so I could use them. Those would work on a normal mountain, but this volcano is too much for them. 3, the key detection I learned straight from Captain Yami himself. By now, it's routine for me. And he shows that he's able to block even a rock. So, like, even things like rocks, he can see that with his key. I can use it to pick up magma eruptions and falling rocks, but... Oh, he has the epiphany of ki. He says, I knew it. I can feel my own ki inside of me, and some other blackish stuff that's flowing in from my sword. If I make this power circulate more, circulate like a river, like a ring, what stance would make it easy to visualize that? So that's when he does the little meditation we talked about in the Sword of Zen video. Okay, so flow more. Okay. Okay. So I see what you're saying. I guess I interpret this differently. Because you see the literal key in his body, and then the anti-magic that's also flowing from the sword into his body. To me, it seems like he's using that image to better circulate the flow, like literally circulate the flow. So he noticed that if you look on 110, it's page 6. It's a huge concentration of magic from the handle in his hand going into his arm, and it kind of dissipates, so it's just trickling in. He's not getting the full effect. But he understands from this visualization that if he puts his other hand on it, more of that energy is going to flow into his body. So, to me, it doesn't seem like he's actually using the key to manipulate the anti-magic. It's just that he's using it as a visualization tool to better circulate the anti-magic by actually making physical contact with the sword to get to know that power more. And of course, I could be wrong, but that's how I interpreted that, which is probably why I didn't remember that portion of the story. Okay, where did I go? Okay, Bandit. I wonder if someone in Land of the Sun may rearrange his grimoire into a scroll, since Asta can't read it and isn't able to access items that Lucida stored previously. Just a guess. Are you suggesting that Lucida put more than just Libe in there? That'd be interesting. Yeah, because she doesn't really say how long ago she got that grimoire, but it would be very interesting if she put more things into it. I don't think she did, but there could be room for it. Black Knight or Fort, is that Armors? Will also be an answer in Core 2. Oh, that's one of the things I wanted to bring up too. So look, there is already some relation to Hino Country that Asta has, which maybe this guy is his dad, but the fact of the shitty scan, we'll just look up his Devil Union. So the fact that his Devil Union comes out as an armor, right, kind of is telling me like there is some weird relationship already. Because obviously it looks like samurai armor, right? This is very close to what you would, if you Googled like a shogun, you would see these armor plates on the shoulders and similar shin plates and stuff like that. So I'm really wondering if there's more of a connection that is to be had here. So that is very interesting. And then this could also get into like why Asta's hair turns black at all. You know, I don't think that's anti-magic hair. And it gets even blacker than this, I'm sure. I think that looks like it might just be a scan. But yeah, it goes like full-on black. And there's no reason for that, because neither Libe or him have black hair. So something else is happening. And this could be like, oh man, it's been a minute since I watched Yu Yu, but Yu Yu Hakusho, there's like, he has this form, right? And it's just like, think of it like Gon. I haven't seen Hunter x Hunter, I haven't read it, but I'd rather do that than like misinterpret Yu Yu Hakusho, but I haven't like really watched in a while. So he has a whole different form, right? And I don't think he retains like most of the memories or whatever that he has in his kid form or whatever. But anyway, regardless, this could be like a completely different personality. So it's like almost like a Lucius Julius thing, right? But these souls are much more physical when they come together. They create the being they were meant to be. But the reason for separation is all back into the things like the left hand half of magic, where you separate that duality and it comes back together. And that's what creates this perfect body in alchemy as well. Nate, we need to go back to the elf art to see what the dice user elf said about Yuno's gemstone. Maybe, well, we know what he said. He said that he's able to summon things directly from the underworld. However, that was okay. Look, guys. I try to use Twitter as like a supplement to the ideas that I put on here. Hoping that you guys would like understand a little bit better. Like what I try to say. I try not to like rehash like the entire like system, and I'm sure it gets old. By the way, what a clown. What a clown. I'm not happy with what this dude did at all. So yeah, this was, jeez. I don't get notifications like that. So like when I say I don't see you guys' stuff, I really mean it. Like it only shows me like 9 right now. Like I don't know where those other 100 went. So where he plugged that in, I put the pictures in there for a reason. So look, here is where they were in the Shadow Palace. This is where they needed Yuno's gemstone. We see this is the very top, and below this is actually not charted on even, I believe it's not charted on Mimosa's map. And even in the overall look of the rooms, From the show standpoint, they don't include this room. However, this room is no, Mimosa is the one who sees this room with her magic. So through the audience perspective, we don't see it at first. Mimosa's plant magic and the mapping of the place shows that there's a hidden room. She literally calls it a hidden room. I think it's like the panel before this one. And it's because this is a hidden Sephira. It's a pseudo Sephira. The idea behind it, this is where Lucifer fell. This is where the original Garden of Eden was. And Lucifer's fall caused it to fall 3 times. Well, not 3 times. 2 times, technically. So there's still a Garden of Eden here. It's the heavenly Garden of Eden. And then the earthly Garden of Eden is Malkut, which is just earth in general. And then the hellish Garden of Eden is, it would be the same place here, but on the Tree of Death. And it's guarded over by Beelzebub. And it's the pathway to knowledge. And it acts as a doorway from heaven to hell to earth. And whatever, whichever combination you want to do this. So it's heavily guarded in heaven. Not to say it's not in the hell realms. However, there is an opportunity to access it through the left-hand path of magic. So that's what makes the left hand more unique. And in my opinion, a bit more appealing. Because it seems that you're kind of forced on the right-hand path to go back to the unity of God, where you kind of really lose who you were. And you just go back to the All-Father type or demiurge. So it's not to say oh dude, screw the right hand. Of course it's supposed to be the good one. But in the left hand path of magic, what it's called is salvation through sinning, right? So they really drive home the fact that there is a cyclical events. You can't. It's like what I say all the time. You can be evil, but use the vehicle of good. You can be good and use the vehicle of evil. Asta is good, using the vehicle of evil, using a demon. Whereas, someone like Lucius seems to be bad, but using the vehicle of good, right? So it's a very interesting concept, but it allows you 2 to 3 options where once you reach the end, the top, which is the Thamael, you can approach Satan, and if you approach Satan, that means you're acknowledging that the reincarnation cycle, and he will bring you back to the demiurge, and you will be one with the demiurge. Thus, you have completed everything the person on the right-hand path has done, through, of course, the means of the left-hand path. Then if you approach Moloch, then it's different, because what happens is he creates a new universe. Now, the universe starts with Thoth. So that's the very important part. But to get into this thread, right, is the representation of Thoth. And that's where they needed his gemstone. That's the pedestal that she's talking about in this. That's the pedestal that you see within that sphere. That is what bridges that world to this one so that Zagred's able to come forward. And Thoth it's a very interesting Sephira because they interpret it as more like a black hole. And it's what holds together the trees. So, like I see in much earlier videos too, the tree of life, the Sephiroth, and the Qliphoth, respectively, are more than just the hierarchies of devils and angels and the pathways to good and evil. It is one of the first interpretations of the universe and its workings. And it's believed that in each solar system, it's not necessarily the sun that is the driving force. It's actually a black hole that is keeping everything together while also kind of destroying it in a sense. Because one day it's believed that everything will be sucked up by this black hole. But Yuno's journey is definitely, these are all quotes from a source. So Yuno's journey's definitely been illustrated to be that of that pseudo Saphira, which would absolutely make sense, being that the elven child was the son of Licht. So it would make sense that there was another apostle born. But yeah, I definitely recommend looking at this if you haven't made. And some other posts, I'm very sure I made several threads about this particular Saphira. Also, several videos, very, very far back. Dude, it would be cool to see Asta speaking to the souls of the swords and get a better understanding. Yeah, that's what I love to see. Like, if he gets to meet the soul of each sword, I think it'd be really cool, and I think the audience would really appreciate seeing Licht with the Demon Dweller sword, and Asta learning how to use Conquering Aeon. I think that's something we've all wanted to see, but of course we haven't seen it. Very, very cool to to incorporate in the story while also paying homage to Bleach. I think it's a very cool opportunity. Helix, what's going on? Sunji Moon, I think anti-magic is created by Lucida's power, and Lucifero caused anti-magic, because anti-magic can do what Lucifero can do by defining fate, and Lucida can abuse magic and life force. Anti-magic can do that too. I would disagree with that. So there's a big difference between anti-magic and what the swords actually do. Lucida's power was to seal things without magic into other objects. And it's the sword that, it doesn't define fate, it regulates fate. It's acausal, so it eliminates cause and effect when magic is in play. So it's not so much dictating someone's fate, like Vanessa's magic with Rouge, or I think she's really the only one that really dictates fate like that. So I wouldn't say it's that. It's more so Asta's ability to manipulate the anti-magic with the application of what the sword was meant to do in the first place. Yeah. And anti-magic doesn't really do anything with life force either. It just takes out the mana. Like, well, people have argued that only the Demon Dweller sword absorbs magic, like when someone holds it, which I guess is a pretty solid argument, but I would definitely say it's probably the same maybe for any other sword. But we do see, I think, Yami at the end of the Spade arc holding the katana that Asta has, and he doesn't mention anything. And just because he doesn't mention anything doesn't mean it's not happening, because they do note that his magic was swelling up a whole lot. So maybe it's something he didn't quite notice or care to notice. He's a very nonchalant guy anyway. But yeah, there's also that considered. You're talking about Yu's form. Okay, that's what it's called. The Yusake Mazoku form. He got it from his ancestral father. Okay, cool. That Taquan troll tweet showed his level of maturity. Yeah, it did. I really don't like I don't really care about the Twitter. It's funny, of course. Like, Twitter drama is funny. That sort of stuff is not funny, though. Like, I definitely can't associate myself with people like that. And like, I know he was even saying like, you like, I'm black too. Like, it shouldn't matter. Like, no, dude. Like, to give a little perspective about who I am, I guess. Maybe it's a good learning time to learn about Jack. Like, growing up, like, I'm black, if you guys don't know. So, growing up, like, I never used, like, things like the N-word or anything like that. I still don't. And I do that because it's something that just represents an ugliness of society to me. And, you know, I have friends that use it, and I get called it by some friends and stuff. Like, I don't mind if, you know, that sort of stuff. But, like, my personal viewpoint of it is just, I don't use things that I find harmful to the community, my community overall. And I'm more of a speciesist, if we're being technical. I'd rather see the advancement of humans overall and not just a certain group of people. So the fact that he is black or says he's black and has the nerve to put a post like that up shows me that not only is he not mature, but he does not care to understand the damage that can be caused by posting that in a space like Twitter, where it's just an echo chamber of negativity. Like, whatever you post, there's always a clown on there, and always someone there to misinterpret what you're saying. So even if it was a joke, there are people here, a good group of people, like, that will take that and run with it. Like, oh, look, he's black and he's saying it, so it's more true. Like, I don't want to get too political with this or, idealistic, but it's just stuff like that I cannot respect. And I definitely don't condone that. And I hope you guys don't either. I really hope he does get deplatformed for that. And he shouldn't be back until he's grown up. Like, that's such bullshit. And I'm against, and I know, Nate, you and I have talked about it too. Like, kids shouldn't be on Twitter, like, at all. And there's some of you that are around his age too, that are in the chat right now, or, in general, that follow me and are very mature. And I also work in a school and I coach and stuff like that. I know very mature, people around that age that know better. I just cannot associate myself with that. And I would use it as like a time to help someone learn about, the things that they're doing that could be interpreted as wrong, and not healthy for any kind of community. But this being Twitter, all it's going to be reduced to is like, oh, ratio. Oh, you're a bozo. You can't take a joke. Things like that. Twitter's not a healthy place to be for that kind of stuff. So I just rather not engage at all. And like I said, I really hope he does get deplatformed for that. And I hope you guys don't follow him. That's really fucked up, to be honest with you. But that's off of Black Clover. My bad. Black Knight or 4 hands with 4 swords will also be the answer in Cooler too. Yeah, that could be really cool. Like, kind of like how Lucifero grew more arms. Like, if he could wield all those swords, it kind of be like a Buddha sort of thing, like the Enlightenment. He has like those arms, right? Like, dang it, I keep going back to Naruto. I'm sorry, but like Asuma with his like that art. I forgot what it was called, but Hashirama uses it too, like that Buddha art. Asuma, like Buddha thing. Yeah, this, right? Where it's like the 1,000-armed murder. One of the coolest techniques, and this was a super watered down version of it too. Still pretty effective, but this was Hashirama's version. It was huge and it could level mountains and stuff, right? That would be kind of cool. I could see that. That's cool. Oh, Trippy. That's really cool. I definitely played with that when I was learning and getting into like things like the Temple of the Black Light, which I do have pulled up here. They do talk about Kronzon, and Thomas Carlson does talk about him as well. I see what you're saying, and I do think it's valid. I just wonder, because like Kronzon is not necessarily like needed within these inner workings. Like, you can definitely have devils that overlap in duties, where Kronzon is not really pivotal to the functions of the Clipot. So that's the only reason why I've never like made any videos on it. But that's really cool that you picked up on that, because you're probably the only other person that has said that. Nate, Lucida sealed Libe before he gained anti-mag. Yeah, very true. So the time of sealing, he was basically like Asta. And the way it's written too is that he gained anti-magic as Asta was gaining that grimoire too. That's something Broken and I had talked about. So there is that. Nate, you're from Trinidad, born and raised, so I only started using the N-word because of rap music. These days, I try my best not to use it. It's weird to me. Yeah. It's just one of those things. Like, I feel like a lot of my friends, too, it's like one of those things you grow out of. It's one of those things people say at a very immature age. So, it is what it is. Vogel, what's going on, my guy? Nate, I'm mainly on Twitter for Black Clover, anime, and general news. Same. I'm really only in it for manga. Like, I really just post there, and I'll scroll a bit, and that's about all I do. Trippy. Why'd you just say Alistair Crowley? Helix, I'm shipping Ichika and Soul if the Hino country people ever go back with Asta to Clover Kingdom. Oh, that's an interesting ship right there. Because, yeah, she's not going to have Charlotte, which would be kind of weird, too. But obviously, there seemed to be a bit more in that relationship. That'd be kind of interesting, right? But, man, Yami's never beating these hard-ass women, dude. Like, he's going to be surrounded by them if that would be the case. Hey, Konohamaru has yet to do anything as cool as Asuma and Lord Third, even though he's a Sarutobi. Dude, I know. The Sarutobi clan is so underrated, but Boruto's not doing him any favors. I really did like, though, in the earlier Boruto, where he launches a Rasengan at like a filler character, and for once, like, did something cool, and it blasted out like a mile behind him because he intentionally missed his head to show him that, you know, he just wasn't that dude to be messing with. And, you know, it was just like, that's what Konohamaru's capable of, and they never showcase it. And I've been wanting to get back into that series, but to be honest with you, they're just dropping the ball every chance they get, almost purposefully. It's so sad, because I really did like Boruto. Hopefully they get their act together, but it's been a mess lately. Like, I had to stop. Sunjin, is it possible that Yami's family has dark magical? Probably. I mean, we've said it on the channel before, like, magic and things of the like seem to be genetic in nature, so I don't see why there wouldn't be more, you know? If anything, this makes Nox magic very, like, much more special. Well, no, it doesn't, because his dad used shadow magic too, so yeah. It's just interesting, I guess. Yeah. Let's see. Sunjimu. Oh no, I just read. Trippy. I saw the symbol that's related to Astaroth and Karanzan, and it's the same as Asta's chest symbol. And so, what you're talking about is actually here. I'm telling you guys, the earlier videos on this channel were the wave. Because I know what you're talking about. Boruto anime needs to go on break. Manga canon arcs are where it shines. Yeah, I haven't been in it, man. I really lost a lot of interest, and it doesn't seem like they're bringing back Kashin Koji. Like, I have not heard anything about him, like, at all. So, and he had the most potential. It was crazy. I'll show you the video I was talking about earlier and what you're talking about, Trippy. So, they're not, like, the same though. Let's go back. Okay. So, yeah, like I was saying in the beginning of the stream, this video was around the time Libe was introduced formally to the story. There we go. So, yeah, Austin Libe, The Temple of the Black Flame, and we got that. And this is actually the book that I have pulled up right here. Well, that's a supplementary book, but yeah, it's from Chaosophy. I don't know why I said it like that. And it talks about the powers of chaos. So this is, I believe they say this is actually not Karanzan or anything like that. They refer to this as Azerate, or Azerat, or Azerate, or however you want to say it. It's the dragon force of the Qliphoth. And it gets very convoluted when it comes to the things like ranking. You know, when it comes to these, I would say, extracurricular beings that seem to be very, very OP. So, and they kind of paint them as like this omniscient being, but it's not how would you say, like, oh, whoops, my bad, guys. Let me bring it back down here. It's not so much like the head of anything. It's more so like it's just the force that exists, and it's as physical as it can get. And they do describe it as a dragon. Now, I don't think in this they necessarily call it a dragon here. The Temple of the Black Light is more focused around like the Luciferian ideals and things like that. But, you know, as you can see, they do talk about chaos being, you know, infinite and has to do with time and space dimensions. So, in the point behind that video showing you guys was really talking about anti-magic. So, they talk about acausal things here, properties of chaos. And that's exactly what anti-magic is. It's acausality. So very, very cool and useful source that I've been using. This is the source I've been using. The one that I'm reading to you currently. I still got to do that. One of my favorite reads. Now, I had two more. So, this one is where they really almost exclusively refer to all of these guys as dragons. And as dragons, they have different names, right? So, this was the being I was just talking about. They called these guys the 11 heads of Azerate. So, altogether, these guys make this 11-headed dragon. And then there's another symbol. I forgot exactly what it's called, but it's an 11 pointed star, and it refers to the zodiac, if I'm not mistaken. But yeah, it's really the heads of the hendecagram. Okay. So here it is. These are the kings of hell, or kings of Edom, as it has here. And these are the respective draconic names that they have. So going back to this, you see we have all 10. Of course, the 11th is including Moloch, being that Satan and Moloch share the Thamael together. Helix Afino country gets confirmed to be a place just set back in time. That one bandit with his tongue out could be Jack the Ripper's. Ooh. That's actually really interesting. Could be. I'm hoping for a conversation between Asta and Ryu about what it means to be magicless as a shogun or wizard king, because you're the main protection of the country, right? You might not have been here when I was talking about it, but I'm thinking that he might be it was a comparison I made, and it was less physically. Like, remember, like in Bleach, we had Kenpachi who had the eye patch, and the eye patch wasn't because he was missing an eye. It was to make sure that his power was, under control. So it watered him down, and he did it purposefully, right? For the fun of it, for him. And so I'm wondering if for him, or for Ryu, it's a lot like where Julius says he can't tone down his magic, so like whatever it touches will just get obliterated. It could be something like that, and he just passes it off as him having no power to do anything. Maybe it's something like that. Who knows? Isn't that chaos symbol on Asta's Devil Union? Yes, and that's one of the reasons why it's up there. We already theorized that Libe is Supreme Devil that hasn't been ranked because he can't be sent with mana. Astaroth's Dragon? Are you saying Kranzan being Astaroth? Kranzan is the... here. If I'm not mistaken, Kranzan rules over the actual Saphir of Dot. So it's like he's like the guardian of it, and he's not good or evil. Search it up in Carlson's book here. So let's see, page 24. The Abyss, ruled by demonic beings like Abaddon and Kranzan, The Abyss has been associated with Gehenna, which is hell. The burning hell of the damned, which is named after a burning scrap of heap. Yeah, okay, great. The Abyss is the gate of the Clipotic anti-worlds in which Lucifer establishes his pandemonium after the Kali. In Nordic mythology, I don't know how to say that, partly corresponds to the Kabbalistic Abyss. The goddess Hel is cast down into the world of darkness and cold, Niflheim. The gate to her is the dark cave, Nipalholm? Nipalholm, there we go. Which is guarded by the hellish beast Barn, which is equivalent to Kronzone. On page 68, he refers to him again, saying the Abyss corresponds physically to the throat and neck and the pale of the back, where the spine passes into the brain. Here we can find the Vishuddhi chakra, which is compared to a blue lotus with 16 petals. Beings and entities like Abaddon, the Angel of the Abyss, and Kronzon dwell in the Abyss. They consume the body parts of the old, limited self that the magician leaves in the Abyss to die. So remember, the Abyss, the function of it, why don't I just have this up like all of the time, like before I start the stream? So, when you are climbing or descending the tree, you meet, depending on what source you're looking at, you meet either Astaroth or Lucifuge. Here it's Asmodeus. Last, before... No. It's always Astaroth. My bad. Astaroth is over here. Wait. Let me follow the path of lightning. I always forget. Boom, 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 boom. Yeah, Astaroth. So Astaroth is the last one that you meet. And it's like that for lore for Astarte as well. She goes through this process. Exactly what is in the Temple of the Black Flame, what Carlson describes in the esoteric lore of the Left-Hand Path, is what is described through Astarte's journey through hell. Which is that through every level she sheds a piece of clothing until she gets here. Because here is when you are on the edge of the abyss. Now that's where you see Kronzon. He's literally the inhabitant of it. Again, he's neither good or evil. He's just a being that has a job. And that job is to consume what is left behind by the mage. And what is left behind is their not true self. So Doth is really what makes or break the adept on this journey. When you approach it, you still have your dual self, right? It's been found and acknowledged, and you're more or less working with it up until this point. But it's here where you literally make this big plunge into the abyss. You jump. And if you're worthy or strong enough, mentally sound and spiritually sound enough, your true self will be the one to make it to the other side, which is where you meet Lucifuge in Satariel, which is also where you find Aishet, the Dark Mother, who rebirths you, who is also part of this as well. This is the womb of the Klippa. I described this in earlier Vonica and Megicula videos as well. This is where you are reborn. This is where you die. Half of you dies. The true half of you survives and is reborn, and you find yourself in the Satariel facing Lucifuge or Aishet Zenonim. So it's a rebirthing process, but yes, Kronzon just eats whatever is left behind, and that part is the part that dies. It has nothing really to do with Astaroth. Okay. Booth, you can't wait for versus Lucius. Yeah, that's going to be a good one. I just want to see what Lucius plans to do with Yuno. Like, it seems like he wants to kill him, but just like how we were pointing out that Asta's main drawback right now is the fact that he has to keep, putting swords in the grimoire to pull out another one because he's only got two hands and, very limited things he can do. He's got the same drawbacks as well. Like, he has to switch grimoires to be able to use the respective attribute. That may not be efficient. Yuno can use both. So if he could somehow get into Yuno's body, he would be completed, really. I'd be really interested to see that. It might sound unlikely, but I think there's sufficient evidence to say that he could probably do that. It's probably in his best interest as well. especially given the nature of like Astaroth and Adramelech as well, being solar deities, but the light side of Astaroth having to do with the moon. Pretty telling. And also Adramelech's consort or sister or brother being associated with the moon as well. It seems to fit together quite well. Helix, you said you were watching the automaton theory for the Diamond General, and what if it is an automaton power controlled by the Earth Spirit? Oh, that's something. I'm glad you brought up the Earth Spirit, my dude, because I almost forgot to bring it up. So look, we got okay. That'd be really interesting. I don't think it's controlled by the Earth Spirit because remember Mars. He took back control of the. Oh, you know what? I see what you're saying. I see what you're saying. So are you saying like? Well, you said control. Like, maybe what if it is the Earth Spirit? Maybe? I don't know. So, I'm thinking that... Oh my god. Did I click on the ad? I clicked on the ad. This video is sponsored by K1 Speed, by the way. Just kidding. I've never been there. I need to go. Actually, maybe I'll go. I got a 3-day weekend. K1 Speed. What are the prices? Come on. What is it? Okay. That's not bad. And we can go paintballing too? You know what? I'm glad I accidentally pressed on that. Maybe I'll go to K1 Speed this weekend. Yeah. Just gotta finish all my homework and exams. But yeah, that's not bad. Anyway, what was I saying? I just want to go back. How many times do I gotta press this thing? Oh my god, did I just get yeeted? Okay. Let me read your comment again. I'm sorry. Got sidetracked. Oh, powered or controlled by their spirit. Maybe it could be powered by it. I think that's plausible. And Mars took control of him back with the Witch Queen's blood. Which means technically the Witch Queen controls them, or allows Mars to control them, and could easily take over like that, just to keep in the back of our heads there. But given that these guys summoned these birds out of the scroll, it made me think, like, what if the Earth Spirit does not exist right now? And like, remember, people were pointing out how like Bell came from the scroll and stuff. We didn't really see anything about Salamander or Undine's origins. Yeah, I'm not going to wait on this. But maybe it could be the same-ish origins. And if that's the case, I wonder, going back to this, like, Chuck/God thing from Supernatural, where they're bringing these words to life, that they haven't made an Earth Spirit yet, or haven't had the means to. Maybe they don't have enough sorcery magic to do so. And maybe it's something that Asta is able to do, that no one else can do here. Now, the Earth Spirit should be something really, really, really special, I think. Because I don't picture it as something like Soul and her Earth magic. Because she's really the only one that has that. No, not really the only one, I guess. But, there are other mages with this stuff, and it hasn't chosen one. And I know people have theorized that maybe it does belong to someone, and it could belong to that diamond mage, and that's why it hasn't been anywhere else that we've seen. But maybe it just simply doesn't exist yet because the scroll for it hasn't been, like, awakened, more or less. You know what I mean? I don't know if you're here or anything, but I'm thinking that Hino is not only a different continent, but also back, like, in time. And these scrolls are the more original grimoires. So I'm thinking we'll see this Earth Spirit soon here. And I think Asta will be the one to uncover it. I think it's only fair. Because, I mean, Tabata tries his best to keep the trio in line with each other. And even though Noelle doesn't seem to have Undine now, she did have Undine. And so having the Earth Spirit could, rightfully come to Asta. That seems like the obvious thing. And it seems like Tabata goes for the obvious thing, but does less obvious writing to get to that. But yeah, it's a good idea. It could be controlled. by the Earth Spirit. Sunjin Woo, you have a feeling that Asta and Li Bei are gonna have a fight because of Sister Lily. Asta, when he returns, he will be hesitant to pull the trigger, and Li Bei is not gonna hesitate to pull the trigger. I see what you're saying. Yeah, possibly. It depends on what's learned here, right? If he doesn't learn anything that could save Sister Lily, yeah, I could definitely see that, and that's something I was also saying while the fight was happening, because Li Bei doesn't have any actual attachment to Sister Lily, but Asta does, and the only reason why they were able to achieve that truer state of union is because Lucida was the commonality that they had, and the fact that she was killed by Lucifero, and that's who they were facing. So that emotional compatibility, that spiritual compatibility, led them to the next level, but the fact that Li Bei does not share that with Asta could really hinder them. Now, I don't necessarily think that Li Bei would go against what Asta says. In a sense, I mean, almost very literally, Asta has saved Li Bei, and owes him, really. He could have gone, like, taken over 100% of that contract. And he didn't. He decided to treat him as an equal. So I think Li Bei does and will have more respect for Asta than that. But as far as like reaching a truer union just because Asta's feeling away, probably won't be the case because Li Bei doesn't share that pain with him. Black Knight, I hope Noelle gets a cool new form in this arc. Her Spirit Dive St. Valkyrie armor was so incredibly good. It'd be very difficult to top, yeah. I'm still hoping she gets like a Kelpie spirit. That would be cool. It's a more violent thing. Valkyries have horses too, so like it'd be awesome. And it'd be a good nod to Berserk anyway. There was a Kelpie there too. Nate, I think it's safe to assume that Ryu is the strongest with Ki while everyone else just has it to boost their sorcery. Probably. Helix, if dragons get introduced, what does that mean for Salamander? I know Salamander isn't a dragon. Yeah, thank God Rax isn't in here. He would have raked you over the coals. But he's drawn as such, at least as a wyvern, I guess. Yeah, which is also not a dragon, I guess. I'm not the dragon expert, like the real dragon expert. I'm not on. I was all Rax, but yeah. I think it's going to be. So look, it's the last saga. It's going to be it's too late to introduce like a new system. Really, I think, again. Tabata is a good writer, so maybe there's room for it, but demons in this lore are dragons. In any source that you read about the fall, Lucifer is a what? He's a 7-headed dragon that fell from the sky and with his tail dragged down a third of the stars with him. So, like, they're all regarded as dragons. Beelzebub is regarded as a dragon, a serpentine one. What they call serpents, like, again, the left-hand path is called the draconian path, the path of the dragon. The serpent's path, although it sounds almost ironic in a sense, but that's the right-hand path. It's called the path of the serpent, and it's supposed to symbolize the serpent of knowledge from the tree of knowledge in the Garden of Eden, the one that tempted Adam and Eve to bite the apple, which is insane that they call it that, given the history, and that's what kicked them out of the Garden of Eden and kind of damned humanity in a sense. But also in that specific sect of Judaism, they do believe that hell is Earth anyway. So I guess that kind of makes sense. So it's draconic in nature as well, though. When you meet the archons of these angels, when you go to each Sephira in the right-hand path, you have to meet an archon. This is the dark part of that particular angel that resides there, right? So these are draconic beings. I don't think they're going to be very far apart from what we see with devils, which might be why Ryu's not really fazed by Li Bei at all, being a devil. They're probably closely associated with them, as we know, like earlier civilizations, like Greece, earlier than that, like even Egypt, were worshiping demonic beings. Not necessarily giving them remember, they don't really give those beings those classifications of like demons or angels. They're just gods. They live in the sky, or they live underground, and we worship them when we need to worship them. That's all it was. So they usually went for the god that produced the most results. And something that we've gone over many times on this channel as well has to do with, the nature of the Sephiroth and the Qliphoth, where the Sephiroth is conceptual in nature, where the Qliphoth represents everything manifested and physical. So to get more tangible results, you need to do tangible things to invoke those spirits. So the sacrificing of children through fire to beings like Adremelech, Beelzebub, Moloch, are all things to get something physically in return. Now, the conceptual nature is when people kneel down to pray. They pray that things go their way. They pray that things go away, right? They pray to a concept for a concept in hopes to get a physical, sometimes to get a physical outcome, which is not how it works. So this is why we have these belief systems on the left-hand path where they're not necessarily viewed as evil. They're just another means to an end. And like I said, both ends give you the same option. However, the draconian path gives you up to 3 options. And it seems to be the more favorable one. However, it goes along with the saying, the path less traveled is usually the one that you want to go down, right? So it's not a popular one because you are met with so much strife and negativity. And think of Jesus' journey as well. That was draconic in nature. 2, he had to do something physical to obtain a physical result, but also transcended the right-hand path as well, which is what made Jesus very special. I'll see if I can pull up that picture, because it's actually the point of Jesus and Jesus, or I don't think it's actually Jesus, but man and the tree of life. Or I should have put Adam, I think. Here we go. So what made Jesus special, right, and why the ideas I pointed out are important is because here his head is at where the doorway is between heaven, hell, and earth. So this is acknowledging that through things like prayer and whatnot, in his prayers to God, his interactions were through conceptual means by prayer to achieve conceptual things, right? Like belief and absolving of sins. But the physical things that he went through that were gory and involved his blood sacrifice and things like that required the harrowing of Jesus, which is something that he physically went through too upon his death. He literally went to hell. He didn't just go to heaven. He went to hell and he descended through every level of hell and became triumphed over it, and thus succeeded the draconian path of magic and went back up to heaven. Again, that goes over the salvation through sin. This is exactly what Jesus does. And through this journey too, and this is why I don't refer to things like the Bible, because it's been rewritten and watered down so badly. But more true sources like in Judaism and in Gnosticism and these esoteric philosophies are more true to it. Jesus, in his journey, was walking alongside Satan, or really vice versa. Satan was with him, and by Satan I mean Lucifer, was alongside with him in the background. And he tried to tempt him through his journey. And this is depicted also in Milton's Paradise Found. So he has Paradise Lost, and it's a lesser known book called Paradise Found, where Lucifer actually comes around to the fact that, he may have been in the wrong. And he kind of finds salvation through Jesus' journey by witnessing it alongside him. But through that journey, he does tempt him, much like he tempts Adam and Eve in the Garden of Eden. And if you give your soul to me, I will give you the earth. And this is said in the Bible. And it shows us the exact concepts of things like the Halls of Amenti, where they believe that hell is earth, and it's created by devils. Your bodies are created by devils. The only things they don't own are the soul, because that's a concept. It's conceptual in nature. It does not belong to devils at all. So they strive to get that from humans. So that's really the idea behind it, right? So it's, it's just very interesting. It's like that, but I don't think the systems are going to be very much different, because again, they are all still dragons, which are demons, and even Yahweh is regarded as a dragon as well. Yaldabaoth is a dragon. So, and some of these other angels, I believe, are also described as dragons. So, it's not. It could very well still fit within the story that we know. Whoa, don't put words in my mouth, Nate. I'm not saying anti-magic is chaos magic. I don't think that. It might be aligned with it or something like that, but I don't think it's chaos magic. I don't know. I just feel a way about labeling like that. Could be, but I don't think so. Or just chaos itself. Probably just chaos itself. I would say that. Will Libe realizing it's chaos change how it works and effectively make it stronger? Probably not. I've always been on the point of like, anti-magic won't get anti-magic here. It seems like they have the full output, but what makes the difference is how it's applied through Asta. That Libe doesn't seem to know. So it's that's the really only big difference. But if they can look at it as not just anti-magic but anti-causal or acausal, then I think it could make a difference in the way they use it. Trippy, who do you think Megicula is? She's Aisha Zenonim for me. And I already gave her a whole list of names. If you go on my Twitter on your phone and you look up Aisha Zenonim, you'll see I've listed every name that I think she will have. And it could even come down to like Astaroth's sister, or Astarte's sister, excuse me, which is, what's her name? Starts with an N, I believe. I should look it up. Anat is what her name is. But yeah, it makes sense because that's they call it her sister or the dark part of Astarte, which is who she meets before she jumps into the abyss. So it makes sense that if that is painted as Astarte's sister, Megicula, why she would be able to fill in for Astaroth. But yeah, I've got several threads on that, so just look that up. Nate, in the show Lucifer, whenever he is affected by bullets, it's because he sees himself as vulnerable as humans. Right. So Lucifer paints a really good picture as a show of what angels do and how they work. You see that angels are more like sentinels. You see when Amenadiel originally comes down to Earth, he's just like, the right-hand man of God. The firstborn is what he was. And he just carried out the will. He did nothing more, nothing less. He wasn't empathizing with people or anything. But as he spent time on Earth and saw what Lucifer saw, went through the human process, and even had his kid, and at one point thought he was human and not even a Nephilim, he became more vulnerable. So the point to that is that it's self-actualization, and angels are said to self-actualize. So what they believe is what they put forward. It's kind of like the idea that man allows for God or gods to exist. It's a point of self-actualization. And this is a microcosm, macrocosm, sort of like fractalization of the universe and the causes and effects of it, right? Because it brings you back to, well, what's the chicken? What came first, the chicken or the egg? When both could have came first, right? Where the thought of the egg gave birth to, or the thought of the chicken gave birth to the egg, but the chicken didn't necessarily exist, but made sure that the egg existed so that the chicken could be born. Thus, the chicken birthed itself. That's the ideas of the left-hand path as well. The point of rebirth is huge, which is why I believe that Asta does not necessarily have a dad, and really went through this path of magic already. And this is now the product, the final stage where he is now born without magic, which would allow him to be empty. But remember, from like the sword of Zen and the circle of Zen, the circle of enlightenment, and things things like that. There's no such thing as being empty. In fact, being full is the acknowledgement of a separation of having something and then having nothing. You have more of nothing than you have of something. Inevitably, that's how it is. However, if you are empty, you have more of everything, because nothing is also everything. Okay? So it's just an idea that you have to really wrap your head around. That makes that a really special thing. Lucifer represents pride. Yeah. That's one gripe that I have about like the show Lucifer. Supernatural paints it's a bit better. Because Satan and Lucifer are different. I'm going to say that until I'm literally blue. And if you remember, I'm black. So if I turn blue, I said it a lot. Satan and Lucifer are wholly different. And here, I'll show you. Even in the Temple of the Black Light, they don't state them as the same. Is it the Temple of the Black Light? It's either the Temple of the Black Light or the Ascending Flame. Or maybe even both. They call them Lucifer Satan. Or not them, but him, Lucifer Satan. It's completely different. And I kind of already painted the picture in several other streams and also videos and threads. When you look at the clip art, it's not going to load right now. Why? When you look at, we were just looking at the picture of the clip art. There are 3 veils above it. So it just comes down to like literal common sense. Not saying you guys are dumb. Don't take it like that. But it comes down to actual common sense. Where, remember, on the Tree of Life, Lucifer, it's debated, because it's debated with Michael, because Michael is actually here on the Tree of Life, very low. And Lucifer was said to be the counterpart over here. In other places, they have them up here, which doesn't make any sense. It's actually much more sensible that they're here. And what was I even saying? What was the question? That Lucifer and Satan are different. So, Lucifer falls, right? So in here, not more depictions of these trees than not do not show this, but there are 2 abysses that you have to cross. And one is here. It's called the Lesser Abyss, though, which is probably why it's not respected as another abyss. But this is the first one you have to cross. And this is what caused it to fall, and it misshaped the tree. So now, think about how low Lucifer was. If you put him here, or even here, right? Even at the highest, if he falls from here, remember, God is out here. He's the 3 realms before Keter, called the Ein Safar. So why, if he wants to combat God, why would he stay in the tree? It makes no sense. That means he's limiting himself. What makes God special is that God is limitless. The Ein Safar literally means limitless light, limitless thought, void. And it goes back to the concept that we just talked about, that emptiness is more than fullness, right? This is the concept of the kenoma and the pleroma. Also videos on here. I definitely suggest watching these. So what happens when the angels landed, the fallen angels landed in their new home, and it's expertly illustrated in Milton's Paradise Lost, another recommended read, but I also do pretty much go over the majority of the book on my channel. Beelzebub is the one who, through opening this gate of Da, sends Lucifer into the realm of chaos. That's where God is. And he realizes not only grasps the powers of chaos in its negative form, but realizes that limitlessness and a form of thoughtlessness is needed to obtain this omnipotence that God seems to have. So, and they talk about it in the book of the Citra Akra too, which is what's even these vessels on the Tree of Life are something that God has more or less aborted. Because what happens is, imagine just like a piece of paper, right? Imagine that's the limitless. That is God. And what happens is, there was a small glimpse of a thought where God realized that he was limitless. Now, the realization of him being limitless limited him. And this created this new void, right? That started to manifest within this limitless light and this thoughtless light. And this became the antithesis to what we now know as the Qliphoth. And God aborted this, and even the shells on the Tree of Life are these abortions of this. However, they seem to work for God. I'm not quite educated enough to tell you the specifics on why he's able to acknowledge the Tree of Life, when the Tree of Life in and of itself is limited. But I can tell you that's how it started. That separation was literally the thought of God. And so Lucifer going there and obtaining that is bringing him back home, but on the other side of the coin. So he is also God. There has to be a God outside of it, or else it doesn't work as a balance. So that's the idea I've been trying to push for over a year now. And it's very hard to get, which is why I do suggest people look into it themselves, because I don't think I really explain things like the best way ever, and people have their own way of learning it. So I definitely do. If you haven't watched those videos, watch them. If not, or if you have, or even if not, go and look into this stuff yourself. Like, it's actually really eye-opening and very interesting overall. And they, again, what I seem to respect a lot about these faiths, Judaism and Gnosticism mostly, is that they provide answers where in like Christianity and Catholicism are kind of left to like, oh, well, that can't be explained, so the glory of God, or that's the devil, when it's not necessarily the case all the time. So they do provide these answers and a more detailed background to things that are left up to mystery for these other religions. Man, talk about a tangent, but yeah, Lucifer doesn't necessarily represent pride. It's Satan who does. I think he's going to kill Yuno, but he gets the second soul instead of leaving Yuno with Star Magic. Maybe. Helix, yeah, you meant that you think it'd be a robot being powered by the Earth Spirit, aka it is the Earth Spirit. Yeah, that could be it, totally. Which is why it makes sense why we didn't see it. And, a breadcrumb to that could be Fauna and the Salamander, where even Fauna wasn't being controlled. Wasn't like, she was being controlled. She wasn't really herself. So, that could be one of those breadcrumbs Tabata tends to leave behind for us to kind of gather. So I think that it makes sense for sure. Is it possible that Lucius' soul manipulation is permanent? Given the fact that we have a thing like causality break for Asta, I don't think so, because he's using the means of magic to do this. However, if he is bringing souls to like what they were before, where like mostly referring to my theory that Lily and Damnatio might be his true siblings, then no, he wouldn't be able to break that, because that's not who they were to begin with. Which would be really sad if that's the case, but I could be wrong on that. We know that Tabata used different religions to create Black Clover. Does anything in this last saga show any reference to the Book of Revelations? I couldn't tell you, to be honest. I'm not super big with like the current Christian faith. Now, there's Christian Gnosticism, which is almost the same, but very detailed. And in that sense, yes. However, if we're just talking about like these current renditions, I wouldn't be able to tell you because I haven't even looked into it. I don't even bother. Nate, didn't Gray's transmutation get stronger, or she got better with it when she realized what it actually was? Yeah, it seemed like when she got the news that it was misclassified, it seemed that she was able to better understand it, which is absolutely what happens, you know? Let's see, what's a good example of something like this? Like, okay, Nostradamus, famous for his foresight, made a prediction talking about in the year 2001, there would be 2 dragons that crash into 2 of the tallest mountains. Now, in 2001, that's when we had the American tragedy of the Twin Towers being, plowed into by the 2 planes. Nostradamus back then did not know what to call that, because of course they didn't have planes back then. The closest thing he can even describe is from lore, which would be dragons. Something huge in the air that has seemingly 2 wings and a tail that most dragons seem to look like have, and of course makes a loud noise as well, a roaring noise. I think it's very reasonable that someone would say and label that plane a dragon. So being able to better understand. So imagine we made planes, referred back to like his fortune telling. Be like, oh, he probably meant planes, and they didn't have these tall skyscrapers, especially not things like the Twin Towers, which were the tallest towers on the planet. There's just no other way to describe it, right? So if people had a better understanding, they'd be able to better prevent it from happening, or something like that. So I think, knowledge into the subject better allows them to use their magic, or their attribute, I should say. He looks, I can certainly see Libe realize his power and become possibly the very final villain of the series, and for Asta to face. Yeah, that was an old theory I had too. I think that would be really interesting, and very sad, and it would be really also kind of cool to kind of come full circle. Having Asta be the one to take the very thing that gave him power, the ability to survive in the world, and be alongside his brother and shared that relationship, or not shared, but literally shared that relationship with Lucida, like his literal brother. They shared that memory, those feelings together in real time. It would be very emotional. And I think from a writing standpoint, a lot of people would appreciate that a lot more than just having be the final villain, which I wouldn't say is like super low tier. It would be also very emotional for as well. But I think in that sense, it kind of goes back on Libe abandoning everything that, the people who saved him told him. Just because he's a devil doesn't mean he's bad, but then he turns around and forsakes that very idea. So it would be beautiful and sad, from a literary standpoint. So I could go with that for sure. Lucifer does to himself with self-actualization is what I think Libe is doing to himself. He sees himself as low-ranking. Yeah, that could be actually. Yeah, absolutely, and it could suffice to say for almost any other devil within the Qliphoth. It goes with the thought that we were just talking about of limitlessness, and even thinking that you are limitless means that you are limited, thus creating that barrier. And if the devils truly believe that, and they are more so fallen and have some angelic background within them, then they could be damning themselves, and all that could be self-actualization. That definitely could be it. That's a good point. Trippy, that would have to mean that Libe is Lucida's biological child, because anti-magic comes from Libe, not Asta. Did I miss something? I don't see what you're talking about. If Libe becomes a villain, Asta will literally be the only person that can take him out. Exactly. Although Yuno would be a fair match too, because remember he was standing right next to Asta. And I know it got really dicey during the Lucifero fight, but remember not Lucifero, but was not at full strength, and Asta's anti-magic is just potent. So should he be at full strength and using like a Spirit Dime form like he was back when they fought Zagrid, then he could stand literally next to Asta and not really be affected by it. So I think does stand a chance there. Okay, I actually caught up with your chat. So here, let's go to Thomas Carlson really quick. I don't remember what he says about Abraxas, but Abraxas is one of the talked about dragons in this system. Looks like he only mentions him 3 times, so let's see what he says. Cock. I'm sure this is talking about a Dremelech. Netzach corresponds to Venus, so yeah, Netzach. Where is Netzach? No, Samael. Where's Netzach? Oh wait, Netzach is Tree of Life. That's Hod. So that would be Netzach there. Huh, okay. So where was I at? Thomas Carlson. There we go. The egg is he is associated with Mars. Interesting, since Netzach corresponds to Venus. Oh, so he's pointing out how he doesn't seem to align. So who is corresponding to Mars though? Is that Mars Samael? Yeah. So then he would align with. Is that Earth? What's the Mars symbol? Mars symbol. Oh, I thought that was Venus. So that's up here with Asmodeus. Okay. Or Lucifuge on Crowley's. Let's get back. Okay. So actually corresponds with Mars. And Abraxas. Okay, interesting. The bird breaks out of the egg. The egg is the world. To be born, one must crush a world into dust. The bird flies to Hod. Hod is Abraxas. So this is actually something that inspired me to want to break down Berserk by the very threads of every page. Because this is exactly what Griffith goes through. The literal egg, breaking out of it. He had to destroy a world to rise anew. He destroyed his old world, his friends, his old beliefs, and transcended anew, being reborn through the poisons of Samael, and transcends and turns into Femto. So this is one of those excerpts that is very much applicable to Berserk. On some levels of the initiatory path, the dark and the bright side are united, and on the solar level, the magician can experience the unity between the holy guardian angel and the beast. The magician's demon unites both the light and darkness within, like the Gnostic god Abraxas, who is associated with this level. So this is exactly what we see with Lucius here, saying that both light and dark is here. I believe he's talking about Tigurian here. Let's see. Yeah, he is. So again, this falls in line with everything I've been saying for a while. How Lucius does embody what the Antichrist is, and this is the chapter on the Antichrist and this level. And this is where they unite both light and darkness within, like the Gnostic god Abraxas. So yeah. There is this. It's further evidence. So if you wonder why I'm not, backing down from that, it's because of stuff like that. Got any theories on what Japanese mythos or theology that Tabata will use for the key powers? Probably traditional lore from Japan, honestly. But like I said, their beliefs really don't deviate too much from things in this book and other esoteric sources. It's very much the same. Just different mediums and different ways of interpreting the story. Seemingly much more colorful than the rest of the world. As such, the writing is. So, Nate, been trying to get back in touch with my faith, but it kind of sucks that the Bible gets watered down based on where you are in the world. No idea on which version. Yeah, I wouldn't know what to tell you, man. It does. It's watered down everywhere, and I think I found a lot of my belief in things like the Nag Hammadi library, Judaism, these esoteric texts, and not to say like, oh man, I'm a left-hand path practitioner or anything like that, but to understand all of these perspectives and then understand that they're literally all the same and they're rooted in the same places. Then you come to your own, spirituality. I think that's the most important thing to take away from all of this. If we're just talking about finding your faith, it's really just finding you and where you stand in the universe and how you decide to connect with it, is the real big idea. And I really appreciate the ideas of Robert Flood having the microcosm and macrocosm, and that idea that the chicken, be it maybe it came before the egg, gave rise to a thought of the egg that then birthed itself. That's the important thing to realize, realizing that relationship. It's not necessarily what comes first, it's just literally the thought that matters. It's kind of weird, but yeah. I would definitely suggest looking through these books. They're chock full of information. They give you the positives and negatives of both sides. And I mean, looking at any illustration of the Tree of Life and how these things are connected, you realize, like, even in the illustrations, Earth in the universe is shared by both the light and dark tree. So, you're the embodiment of both, is the belief. So there is no wrong way to interpret things unless it's morally selfish and wrong, and it harms others. Can't seem to find the picture that has both the trees, but I think you guys know what I mean. Like this right here. Right there, where they have that overlap. That gray area is us. It's the universe. But yeah, this is just interesting stuff. And, hopefully no one's offended, like, by stuff I say on here. Like, I just think it's all information, like, really cool information. I'm not trying to sway you to go one way or another, of course, but it's just related to Black Clover. Unless there's anything you guys want me to look up, I think I'll save the dragon talks for later. This kind of went on for longer than I thought it would. But I could save another stream for, like, tomorrow, maybe, or Monday, to really go into the dragons and the draconian path and all that good stuff. If that's cool with you guys. Because, yeah, I think this is a 3-hour stream, man. So, yeah, I think it's a good time to call it. But, yeah, you guys have any questions? If you guys want to know, like, these things that I'm showing you here are not actually just, like, readily available. I did pay for these, so these are in an online library. You might be able to find this one. You should be able to, actually. So if you would like to, like, have the link to this or something so you could read it over yourself, feel free to message me. I'll try to intentionally check my messages because I don't get the notifications about them like that. So I'll have to set aside some time to actually look at it. And then yeah, that one's also not readily available. So yeah, this is really the only one I could actually send you. So if you are interested in looking at it, I'll send it to you. I also do have the video on my channel that you can just watch or listen to about it. So there's that. Helix, thanks for your time. Thank you for your time, all of your time. Any stuff on paladins? I don't know if you already looked it up. I mean, there's just the basic lore on 12 paladins. But no, not really. It's probably not in my actual lore repertoire. But as far as I know, no, there are not different tiers of paladins. There are just 12 of them. And I forgot who they aid. Oh, I forgot his name. But yeah, I think that's more along the lines of like Broku's, sort of stuff. So probably good to ask him about that. But anyway, yeah, I think I'll sign off today, guys. And yeah, thanks for coming in. I will see you guys probably tomorrow. We'll talk about dragons and maybe anything that changed with the translation. So thank you guys again. You guys already know. It's been Jack Oates to go. You either know or you don't.